November 12th, 2025. As usual, we'll give it a few minutes for people to join, and then we'll get started. And Mike M., welcome, brother. Good to have you on this Wednesday evening. And we have some people joining. We'll give it another minute or so. Yeah, they got to do away with the ATF, Mike. I'm hoping they just abolished them because they just come up the works right now. How long have you been waiting, Mike? Just curious. Four weeks is ridiculous. All right, so people are starting to trickle in now. I know it is a little bit late. Raphael. And hello, Ted. Thanks for joining. All right, we have people joining now, so we'll get started. I know it's a little early. We normally start at 8 o'clock, but we'll get it going now. All right, guys. Frank here, Pro Gun. So we all know what happened to Glock in California. And now in Connecticut, the Attorney General is putting heat on Ruger, threatening to file lawsuits against Ruger if they don't discontinue their RXM line. Ruger RXM is Glock Gen 3 clone, but it's not really a clone if you think about it, because the fire control group is removable, unlike the Glock. And so far, it doesn't look like Ruger's going to cave in. Statement from Ruger so far, and welcome Randall P. God bless you too. So far, the statement from Ruger has been, we manufacture firearms for responsible gun owners and will continue to do so. So it'll be interesting, though, to see what happens when the lawsuits actually start hitting. Today is November 12th, and thank you for that, Jaden. I appreciate that. Today is November 12th, and finally, after a 6-month delay, Mantis has released the Titan X. And I just made the video public today. I've had it for a while, but they asked me to hold off until the release date, and they are releasing it today. If you haven't checked out my video, check it out. I mean, if you dry fire train, this Mantis Titan X is a game changer. This thing will change the way you dry fire train forever. It's absolutely awesome. And JD Dula, hello to you. For those who are new, we do this live stream every Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern, and we do them on Saturday at 12 o'clock noon Eastern till 1 o'clock. And hello, Braveheart. Don't have any experience with the Makarov pistol, so I can't answer that question. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'd appreciate that. I want to thank all our subscribers and viewers that just pushed us over 7,000 this month. And the goal is to make 10 by the end of the year. It doesn't look like I'm going to make 10,000, but I may make 8. And it's just a goal. Have to have something. But, January 1st this year, we only had 1,000. So, and thank you for that. Randall P., thank you. And victory to the P. Yeah, I like the 16-inch barrels on the AR myself. 20-inch barrels I think are too long. 16 is perfect, especially for home defense. A 16-inch barrel is just a lot more. It makes it a lot easier to maneuver if you have tight confinements such as hallways, things like that. So I prefer the 16 as well. And they are a lot of fun to shoot. You're going away. And thank you for that, Mike. I really appreciate the help from the moderators. As the channel's growing, we're getting more and more liberals that live in their parents' basements that come out, and our moderators do a great job kicking the troublemakers out so they don't ruin it for everybody else. Victory P, I have a lot. I have a lot of firearms, so I don't even know where to start. I have AR rifles, AR pistols. And Gabe Owners, happy birthday. What is my most expensive? My most expensive is my Colt Python Combat Elite. That was about $1,500. That's my most expensive. And I'm really having a hard time um, having constraints because um, Colt has $100 rebate until December 31st. Um, it's a victory to the P. It's a revolver. Um, Citizens can't buy fully automatic, so I don't know whether you're just busting balls here or what, but we'll figure that out. But anyway, so Colt has $100 rebate um, until December 31st. That Colt Python is a 357 Magnum. Alfredo, this is not a political forum, so you're going away. You know, we do this for you guys. Um, we don't really have a set agenda unless people request them. Um, so as long as it's firearms or Second Amendment related, um, we're more than happy to have those discussions. Um, Even arguments are good as long as they're respectful and they don't get personal. So I had a request from Ben, who's not able to make the chat tonight, but he's going to make it Saturday. And his request is um, to cover what you need to start reloading. So that'll be one of the agenda items for Saturday. I'll get right to you, Dom. Give me a minute. Um, like I said, we don't have a fixed agenda. We did this for you guys. I really enjoyed the interaction and the relationship with my viewers and subscribers. So if there's any topics, feel free to leave them in the comments here and I'll write them down and we'll get to that. Um, that's a tough question, Dom, only because I have so many pistols that it's tough to pick my favorite. Um, I'll pick a revolver and a semi automatic. My favorite revolver is definitely my Colt Python Combat Elite. And my favorite semi automatic is my Glock 20 10 millimeter. Uh, Randall P., if I had to pick a backup pistol in 380, I would probably go with the Beretta Cheetah. I'm personally not a fan of the Smith & Wesson pistols. Um, that Esper guy, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, well, let me tell you something. Victory to the P. Just so you know, um, reloading is not always cheaper. Um, the biggest benefit of reloading is that you could experiment with different types of rounds, but more importantly, is that for certain calibers like 10 millimeter and 45 ACP that are very expensive, um, at least with reloading, you'll always have ammo. And I think the fact that being able to reload ammo that's not easy to find is a bigger benefit to me than saving money. And by the way, Randall, um, the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380 is actually one of their most popular guns. Um, I'm not a fan of a 380. I probably would never buy one. Um, but if I were to carry one, I would say the um, Beretta Cheetah or the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard would probably be my two top choices. Again, we have a lot of new people on this chat. If you haven't done so, please hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that. Turn on notifications so you'll be made aware every time I release a new video. Those of you that dry fire train, today Mantis really knocked it out of the park. Today they just debuted the Mantis Titan X. I had the pleasure of reviewing that for them a couple of months ago, and they made me refrain from making it public until November 12th. But I did have a chance to use it and beat on it. And let me tell you, if you dry fire train that Mantis Titan X, that thing will change the way you dry fire train forever. It's just awesome. And Nathan 420. What's a 22 handgun I would recommend for planking all day long and a good trainer for bigger models? Okay. If cost is not an issue, I would definitely go with the Ruger Mark IV. And I own a Glock 44, and I put thousands and thousands of rounds through that, and it's been very reliable. I like it a lot. I didn't know that the P365 came in 380. And hello, Dale. Welcome back. And again, Ted, thanks again for helping me moderate. Like I said, as the channel grows, we get more and more liberals coming out of their parents' basements, and that's fine. I take it as a compliment that they could be doing a lot of other things and they choose to spend their time on my live stream. So I do take that as a compliment. Now, maybe something you guys could help with. I'm kind of on the fence. I want another 357 revolver. All my revolvers are 3-inch barrels because I carry them all. And I have a Smith & Wesson 686. I have a Colt Python Combat Elite. And I'm looking at the Ruger GP100. But Colt has got a $100 rebate till December 31st. And I really like the Colt King Cobra. But, you know, $1,000 versus $700 for the Ruger. And XM Entertainment, hello to you. Thanks for joining. And it would be nice to have a Ruger so I can do a comparison between the Smith & Wesson, the Ruger, and the Colt, all three American-made guns. So I'm torn. And the problem I have is every time I have just enough money, I go out and buy some kind of gun, and I have a hard time waiting to save it up. But I'm really going to try to do it this time. And I'm leaning toward the Colt King Cobra, but I really want the Ruger GP100 so that I could have one of each of them. And then, of course, after that, I am going to get a 357 Magnum lever action rifle. And John, welcome, brother. I'm hoping your back is feeling better, John. Ted has been doing a lot of work tonight. Yeah, you know what, Randall, the Colt is a no-brainer, but you know when you're talking, you know, $700 versus $1,000, I guess the only reason I would go with the Ruger GP100 is because I don't own a Ruger revolver. And maybe that's why. I also like the Viper, um, but it's very dainty and it's not something you'd want to be putting a lot of full-blown Magnum rounds through. And also the Ruger GP 100, it is a tank. I mean, nothing has got the trigger like the Colt. When you shoot that Colt Python, especially the Combat Elite, that double action trigger is smooth as butter. And if you're saying, well, is it worth $1,500? When you pull that trigger, it's worth $1,500. That's where all that money went into that trigger. So, like I said, this chat is up to you guys. So if you have a topic you want to talk about or discuss or have me comment on, just put it in the chat and we'll do it. I don't like hogging the whole thing up, just babbling. Like I said, it's for you guys, and this is where we can share information with each other. Yes, Randall, there's no doubt. The Colt is definitely worth $300 more. Um, Absolutely. And on resale value, I mean, God forbid, if you had to sell a firearm, you'll get a lot more resale value out of a Colt than you will out of a 350, than you will out of a Smith or a Ruger. The only reason I'm leaning toward the Ruger is because I just don't have a Ruger revolver. And Michael Way, hello, thank you for joining. I know there's a lot of people that join these streams that don't say anything, and that's okay. But I can tell you that we get close to 3,000 viewers every time we do this. So if there's a topic or a question, feel free to ask because that's why we do this. Like I always say, nobody knows everything, but everybody knows something. And this is a great way that we can share information with each other, experiences, good or bad. I do not have a Ruger LC carbine in 45. That would be really cool. I love 45. Hey, Bear 04, welcome back, brother. Glad to have you. How you doing this evening? When I bought my Smith & Wesson M&P FPC, it was only available in 9mm at the time. And now they came out with it in 10mm. And it's really, really tempting to get. I got to tell you. Thinking of a companion for Glock. Same mags. If you're thinking of a companion for Glock, and do you mean using the same mags? I got to tell you, you cannot beat the Ruger RXM. I own a lot of Glocks, and I won't part with any of them. However, if I were new to firearms, I would not go out and get a Glock. I probably wouldn't even recommend people to go out and get a Glock. I would just tell them to go get the Ruger RXM. Especially now that Glock discontinued all their firearms but three. I'm not even interested in what the V series is going to look like. As far as I'm concerned, um, Glock's not the only uh, game in town. There's a lot of other guns out there that are, in my opinion, just as good, maybe better than the Glock for less money. Um, I take my Springfield Echelon, for instance. That is probably one of the best pistols Springfield ever made. Um, I'll put that up against a Glock 17 any day. Um, yeah, I agree, Ted. I will not buy any more 9 millimeters. I'm not even a fan of 9 millimeters. Um, I only have them because they're cheap to buy and cheap to shoot, but I have too many of them now. So I made up my mind that anything I buy from now on is either going to be a revolver, a 1911, or a 45 or a 10 millimeter pistol, but uh, no more 9 millimeters. John, I got to tell you, dude, you got to get a 1911. I mean, yeah, I got you, Ted. I have the Glock 21 45 ACP, and that Glock 21 is probably the best non 1911 45 ACP on the planet. I got to tell you though, John, you you got to every gun owner should have a 1911 in their collection. I mean, just the trigger, the trigger of a 1911, in my opinion, out of the box, um, is probably the best trigger in the world. Um, I'm sorry, Michael. I don't know what the MMP guns are. I'm also not a fan of the 2011s. I'm an old school 1911 guy. Um, oh, M&P too. I'll be honest with you. Um, I'm not really a fan of Smith and Wesson pistols. I got to tell you. Um, I find the triggers very gritty. I just don't like them. Um, my wife's favorite gun is her Smith and Wesson Equalizer. She loves it, and she shoots it very well. I'm just not a fan of the Smith and Wesson pistols. Yeah, Bear, I love all my 1911s. I have Springfield Emissary, Colt Government Competition Plus, and a Ruger RS 1911. I'm old school. To me, when I hear 1911, my brain says 45 ACP. I just think that there's something sacrilegious about a 9 millimeter 1911, but that's just me. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of guys that love 9 millimeter and a lot of guys that love 1911s and they want the best of both worlds. Um, but for me, like I said, I will never purchase another 9 millimeter. I have way too many of them. Um, so from now on, it'll either be 45, 10 millimeter, or revolvers. And of course, I do want to get a lever action rifle in 357 Magnum. I have to tell you, John, I I used to think that the Colt government model was my favorite 1911. When I got that Springfield Emissary 1911, man, look at my review. I mean, not only does it look badass, but it shoots like a dream. And that is definitely my favorite 1911 now. Um, And by the way, Dan Wesson is owned by CZ now. Michael, every time we pass it, I say to my wife, we got to go in there. We have a bunch of pawn shops around here, and I'm sure you could probably find a lot of hidden gems, but I'm just wondering if like the owner of and the employees cherry pick them. Um, so I don't know. I have to go and I really want to look and see because it could be somebody down on their luck and they're forced to sell a gun last minute. Who knows? I'm thinking you could probably find uh, some hidden treasures, but there's nothing wrong with 1911 and 9 millimeter bear. Like I said, I'm old. To me, when I hear 1911, my brain just says it's got to be a 45. But um, obviously, there are a lot of pistols in 9 millimeter that shoot very well, and there's a lot of 1911s. Um, Jacob Rude, um, I'm I'm thinking of going with the Henry Big Boy uh, in 357 Magnum. It's so damn heavy. I was looking at the specs, and the Henry Big Boy is about, I don't know, 9 pounds versus the Marlin that's 6.5. And I was looking at the Smith and Wesson 1874, but um, I just think it's way overpriced. And now that Ruger owns Marlin, the quality will continue to be very good, and it'll probably last you forever. I do like the walnut checkering on the Marlin, but the Henry Big Boy with the brass side gate is just a gorgeous looking gun. And they're made in Bayonne, New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. Um, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time with that 9 pounds. That's good to hear, Bear, because I'm telling you, I'm really leaning toward that Marlin 357 Magnum. Uh, that walnut stock with the checkering is just absolutely gorgeous, and it's 900 and something dollars right now, which I think is fairly reasonable considering the Smith and Wesson 1874 is like $1,200. And I love Smith and Wesson revolvers. Not really a fan of their pistols, um, and their rifles are so in my opinion. But between Ted and John, boy, you guys got your work cut out for you tonight. To answer your question, Sal, I'm a huge fan of HK. Um, I like all the HK firearms. Um, I also like the Walther. Um, I'm looking at the Walther PPQ 45 ACP. Yeah, well, sorry about that. Okay, easy, whatever, however you pronounce it. Yeah, I'm sure India is hard. Hell, even some states in the United States are hard. I don't know, Ted. I saw the Henry at Buds and I picked it up, and it was heavy. And if you go to Grab a Gun's website and you look up the Henry Big Boy 357, it is over 9 pounds. It's freaking heavy. That's because of the big bull barrel it's got on it. And I don't know. And I'm also kind of leaning towards the Marlin now that Ruger owns them again. Well, the government shutdown is over, so but you could thank the liberals for that. Yes, it is, John. My understanding is that they did put an end to the government shutdown. Osborne, um, are you talking about? Are you talking about that artwork? Because if you're talking about that, it's actually. Oh, you talking about the pro gun banner? Oh, well, obviously we are pro gun. I had the pro gun banner done at Vistaprint. I have one for the wall and I have one for my table where I do all my reviews. Um, the Balding Ginger. My favorite rifle is my Remington 308 bolt action. And Emlyn, yes, I have fired a Heckler and Koch. They're very good quality guns. I like them a lot. I really, if I get another 45, that's a good question, Jacob. I thought it was a model 730. Yeah, Bear, you can't go wrong with the Springfield 1911 A1. Osborne. Yes, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate that. I have a lot of firearm reviews here for you guys to look at. But sorry about that, Bear. So yeah, my Springfield, I got the emissary. I wasn't even looking for it. I was in Smoky Mountain Guns and Ammo with my wife, and I saw the emissary, and I was like, man, they took the basic 1911, they turned it into a tactical gun. It's got like a triangular slide on it. It's got U-notch rear sight with a tritium front night sight. It's got G10 grips that have a grenade pattern. It's absolutely gorgeous. But yes, Osborne, this is a gun channel. So if you haven't done so, please subscribe. I'd appreciate that. You may want to take a look at the review I did on that bear. It's absolutely awesome. Emlyn, we're not getting into this stupid shit, so I'm making you go away. But I got to tell you, I thought the cult government model was my favorite 1911 until I got that Springfield emissary. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and I do use Wilson Combat mags. For those 1911 fans out there, in my opinion, if you're going to run a 1911, you should either use Wilson Combat or Chip McCormick. Grabagun.com is really good, but if you go to Smoky Mountain Guns and Ammo.com, their sales are really hard to beat. And fortunately, they even have one about 30 minutes from my house. And we're really fortunate because where we live in Tennessee, we have a Royal King, we have Smoky Mountain Guns and Ammo, and we have Bud's Guns, all within a half hour. And Sir Flowers, you're going away too for being an asshole. I'm wondering if the liberals that are living in their parents' garages, basements, if their parents are kicking them out now. By the way, Bear, just so you know, uh, Wilson Combat just purchased Chip McCormick, believe it or not. And the Tactical Llama, welcome back, brother. God bless. Thanks for having us. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, John, check them out. I have friends of mine that live in New Jersey, and they buy their guns at Smoky Mountain Guns and Ammo and have them sent to their New Jersey FFLs, and it's still cheaper. Um, I'm just fortunate that I can drive there in 30 minutes, but I think today we have the most liberals that came out of their parents' garages. I guess even their parents are tired of having them down there. You know, that's a good question, Sal. That actually was a nice gun. I mean, I just love 45 ACPs. I don't care if they're made by Colt, Springfield, TSUS, Rock Island. Um, yeah, even a bad 1911 has still got a better trigger than a striker fired gun. So, well, you're dating yourself too, Sal. That Miami Vice is old, bro. And Skippy, I got to tell you, I love Smith and Wesson revolvers. Um, I have the Smith and Wesson 686 Deluxe. Um, I like that it's 7 rounds, but I also have a Colt Python Combat Elite, and that is the shit. I got to tell you, the the double action trigger pull on that Colt Python is butter. And that's why it costs $1,500. And don't get me wrong, I like my Smith and Wesson, but any revolver you put up against my Colt Python, you pull that trigger, that's the first thing you say. It's worth every penny of it. I am still thinking about getting the Ruger GP100 though. You know what, Skippy? I carry a revolver, not all the time. That's why all of my revolvers are 3-inch barrels. Um, and there's nothing wrong with carrying a revolver, especially if you're carrying a uh, Smith and Wesson 686 7 rounds. That's almost the same as carrying, a subcompact, Glock 43. Um, if 7 If 7 rounds of 357 Magnum's not enough, then you got a problem. And you know what? As long as that works for you, Bear, that's cool. And again, we have a bunch of new people here today, so if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that. Um, we do these live streams every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern and Saturday afternoon at 12 noon Eastern till 1 o'clock. And hello, Jacob. You know, that's a great question, Jacob. I've heard of clocking issues on a revolver. I've never in I don't know 50 something years experience. I've never had a timing issue on a revolver. I've heard of them, but I've never actually seen one. However, it does make me cringe when you see people um, at the range with their revolver and they open the cylinder and then they slam it shut. That just uh, drives me insane. Bear, I have not shot any of the air weights. No, I haven't. I'm also not a fan of hammerless revolvers. Um, I like to have the option to be able to pull the hammer back if I want. Um, those hammerless revolvers sometimes have a, you know, 11, 12 pound trigger pull. But that's just me. I mean, some people like the hammerless revolvers because it doesn't get hung up on your clothing if you carry it. But again, I am still leaning towards the Ruger GP 100 only because I really want to get the Ruger, so I'll have three American revolvers, and I can do a comparison between the three of them. As much as I'd like another Colt, um, I'm probably going to get the Ruger because I don't have one. Yeah, that Ruger GP 100 is built like a tank too. Yeah, Ted, I feel you, bro. I used to have I had a Taurus Judge polymer frame, and that wasn't fun to shoot either. And Denny's Grand Slam, welcome back. Yeah, that 1886 is awesome gun. Well, that's exactly what I'm getting, Bear. If I do get the Ruger, it's going to be the GP 100 and 357. Um, and it will be a 3-inch barrel because my Smith & Wesson 686 and my Colt Python are 3-inch barrels, and I do carry the revolvers time to time. Um, 3-inch barrels on a revolver just seem to be the sweet spot. 2-inch barrels a little short for magnum loads. 4-inch barrels just a little too big for concealed carry, and 3-inch barrel just gives you. It's just long enough to give you a decent sight radius, and it conceals very well. Um, like I said, I don't own any safe queens. Every one of my guns, no matter how much they cost, I carry at one point or another. Um, my revolvers, my expensive Colt government model, it doesn't matter. I carry every gun. Uh, I do know there's some people that have guns that they'll never fire. I just don't see the point. Um, and I also wouldn't buy a gun that I wouldn't carry. If it's not worthy of carrying it to me, it's just not worth owning. But yeah, I'm starving now too, John. And Denny's looked really good. I got a product sent to me. I don't think I mentioned it Wednesday. I probably mentioned it Saturday. I did the review on it. It's from Silent Valor, and it's a ballistic backpack, and that thing is just incredible. Um, it comes with the plates, and they did a demo shooting a dummy with the backpack on it with a 44 Magnum, and not a mark in the dummy. Mike F., my favorite revolver to carry, my Colt Python 3-inch 357 Magnum, more than enough stopping power. Triggers like butter. Yeah, that's a sweet gun though, Bear. Yeah, the 6-inch barrel's a little big to carry, but man, if you're hunting or shooting at the range, the 686 with a 6-inch barrel is sweet. And Mike F., I also have a Smith & Wesson 686 Deluxe 357 with a 3-inch barrel. Like I said, all of my 357s are 3-inch barrels because I do carry them from time to time. I got an absolutely gorgeous holster from Tucker Gun Leather. And fortunately, the Smith & Wesson 686, the Python, and the Ruger GP 100 will all fit that same holster. So, and just to do a time check, it is 8:32. We will end this at 9 o'clock. Good evening, Canon 0311. Thank you for your service, brother, and the day late, but happy Veterans Day. Mike F., what range do I feel confident with 3-inch barrels? Uh, you know, I would probably say I'd probably say 15 yards. And yes, Mike, that Colt Python is a beauty, but I got the Colt Python Elite. It's even more beautiful. The cylinder is not fluted; it's solid, so it makes it a little bit more heavy. It's got a came with a front tritium night sight, and it came with G10 grips. It's absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so and hit the subscribe button and search out there for my videos at Occult Python Combat Elite. It's a gorgeous gun. Yeah, I agree, Bear. I got to tell you that, I mean, I have a lot of holsters. Um, for the money, the Tucker gun leather holster, hands down, is the best holster money can buy. It's custom made, it's handmade in USA, in Texas. And, there's a lot of holsters that are handmade and they charge you a lot of money for them. But this is custom made. When you go to their website, I mean, you pick the color of the leather, the color of the stitching, if you want concho, um, weaving, and they're not that expensive. I mean, it was under $200, and for that price, I mean, you go out and you buy a Bianchi, you could spend almost $200 for that. I do have to say though that the Tucker gun leather does have about a 4-month waiting period. And first person reviews. I was just saying it. I absolutely love that Springfield emissary. Um, I don't. Yours must be defective, and I would send it back. Um, if you're talking about it rusting out of the brand new box, then it's definitely defective. I mean, you could probably. Well, that sucks. That was probably a factory defect. And Skipper Day, that's a good question, and I will explain that um, in layman's terms. So, what reciprocity means is that it's an agreement between the governors of multiple states. And to make a long story short, what that means is that if my governor signed an agreement with your governor, you can use your permit in my state and vice versa. There's a lot of states that have reciprocity. And that's basically what it comes down to. If one state allows you to carry um, with their permit, they'll allow you to do the same. You know what, James? Welcome. I I have I have a box like this. No bullshit. I must have 50 holsters, and uh, every time I get a new gun, I need a damn holster because they're always off just a little bit. Um, and yeah, a holster now, you spend almost $80 now on Kydex. Oh, okay, Sal. So it's tuckergunleather.com. Trust me, it is the best by far. Best holster money can buy. It's custom made. Um, when you go to their website, they're going to ask you a lot of questions about, whether you want it one color, two color, pick the colors, pick the color of the stitching, whether the gun has um, suppressor heights, um, whether you want a thumb brake, and they're under $200. I think I paid 150 for mine. Um, if you haven't uh, done so, subscribe to my channel and search for Tucker Gun Leather, and you'll see the holster I got. It's absolutely gorgeous. Skipper Day, that is a good question about the Utah permit. Okay, what the Utah permit is it's a non-resident permit. Now, some states will allow a non-resident permit. However, it's getting more and more complicated because um, the laws and the boundaries are getting kind of blurred. So now there's a lot of states that are no longer going to accept a non-resident permit as opposed to a permit from the state you live in. I had a Utah permit. I let it expire. Um, no, I'm sorry. I think I still have Utah. But I had Arizona. You can get Arizona online. Um, Florida, you could do by mail. New Hampshire. Um, but New York is just as bad as New Jersey. Yeah, you know what, James? Maybe it's me. I've tried a shoulder rig and I just can't keep them from flopping around. And the problem I have with the shoulder rig is that they're always like doing this, and it seems like you never have the barrel pointed in the safe direction. And Skipper Day, no problem, bro. That's why I'm here. Um, I'm old. I have over 50 years firearms experience. I'm a pistol instructor. So I just love to share my knowledge. We didn't all wake up knowing what we know today. Uh, some people are afraid to ask questions. It's better to ask than not. And thanks for subscribing there, Skipper Day. Yes, we are on the East Coast. I am in the great state of Tennessee. And that's why we do these live streams Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock p.m. and Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. You know what, Sal? I've been arguing this point for years about federal reciprocity. It's never going to happen. And you stay safe too there, Skipper Day. Here's the problem we have, Sal, is that driving is a privilege, not a right. The right to keep and bear arms is a right, not a privilege. Yet you can drive from California to Maine and go through every state with that same driver license, but yet you can't do that with a firearm. Depending on the state you live in, your Second Amendment rights can end at the border. And, you know, I used to live in the communist state of New Germany. And in New Jersey, you can't even open carry it. You can't even carry in the car. You have to have the ammo and the firearm locked in separate compartments. Here's the problem, Sal. In order for this to work, you need federal reciprocity. And it's never going to happen because the liberal states are never going to go along with it. Even if the Supreme Court justices rule that there's federal reciprocity, you know the jerk-offs in California and Illinois and New Jersey and New York, they're going to just totally ignore it. And they know they're going to get sued, but they don't care. They're going to tie it up in the courts for years and years. And I don't understand how every state can make up their own gun laws when the Constitution is absolute and it's non-negotiable and it's not their right to take away. I mean, when the Constitution was written, they didn't say, it only applies to people that live in Republican states. The Constitution is for everyone in the country. But, you have people like Gruesome Newsom and you have that jerk off in Illinois. I just don't understand why, once and for all, the federal Supreme Court justices don't just rule that it's everyone's right to keep and bear arms, period. And the states have nothing to do about it. Last year, I went to the NRA convention in Dallas, and I heard President Trump speak, and he made a lot of promises about protecting our Second Amendment rights. And honestly, I'm a little disappointed because he hasn't really done jack shit to protect our rights. But in all fairness, it's not all his fault because the liberal states are still never going to go along with it. I still don't understand what the shall not be infringed confusion is. And I don't understand how it's a constitutional right, but yet every day they're trying to change it. Our rights are absolute. They're not open to interpretation or negotiation, but apparently they are. I agree, Mike, but like in the communist state of New Germany, if if you get pulled over and you have your firearm and ammo in the same compartment, you're going to go to jail. And another stupid thing they do in New Jersey is that now you can carry in New Jersey, maybe, but they have so many restrictions on where you can and can't carry. It's not worth the trouble. But yet, you're not allowed to have hollow points in New Jersey. Now, to me, that's just freaking stupid. I mean, it should be mandatory. If you're carrying a firearm, it should be mandatory that you have hollow points. No, in New Jersey, you're not allowed to use hollow points. So they want you to use ball ammo. Really? What were these people thinking? I guess they never thought about over penetration. The problem you have is that you have lawmakers that know nothing about firearms creating these firearm bills. Exactly, Skippery Day. This is the problem. You have people that know nothing about guns making up gun laws, which is why they're so freaking stupid. That is why I love the great state of Tennessee. We have no restrictions, no firearms ID card, no permit to open or conceal carry. And the ATF should be abolished as well. I agree, Sal, but in some states, I could tell you, in New Jersey, you're not allowed to own hollow points. And John, what ammo do I buy when the shit hits the fan? I carry Hornady Critical Defense. And Adrian Smith, my opinion of the 10-round maximum. I used to live in the communist state of New Germany when it was 15 rounds. And then when Governor Free Stuff Murphy got elected, in the middle of the night with the swipe of a pen, he made 10 rounds. Now, here's the problem. The criminals are still going to have high capacity magazines, right? But if you're going to change it from 15 rounds to 10 rounds, then basically you're arbitrarily pulling a number out of your ass saying 10 casualties is acceptable. I mean, this is the whole problem, is that to get a carry permit, you have to be a law-abiding citizen. You have to pass a background check, etc. So if you're going to, and you have to qualify. If you're going to deem me competent and qualified to carry a firearm, then don't tell me, well, you're capable and you're competent, but you can only have 10 rounds. That's just freaking stupid. But yet, the criminals are still going to have their high capacity magazines. That is the whole problem. The lawmakers know they can't win their battles against the bad guys, right? They know that. They're absolutely screwed. So what can they do? Go after the law-abiding citizen, because that, ironically, that's all the gun laws are. Gun laws are really just to stop the innocent people. The bad guys don't listen to them. So we have gun laws to restrict law-abiding citizens. It's just absolutely stupid. Mike F., I got to tell you, Tennessee's an awesome state to live in, bro. You fill up your shopping cart with as many guns as you want, and you pay the guy. It's not like in New Jersey where you have to apply for a pistol permit and you can only get one permit, and it's only good for 90 days. And to buy ammo, you need a firearms ID card and all that bullshit. Here, you go to Rural King and the ammo is on the shelf right next to the potato chips, and you load up your cart and you pay the lady, and no driver license, just leave. No permit to conceal or open carry. Yes, Bear. That is the problem, is that our lawmakers know nothing about firearms. Um, that is why they come up with these stupid rules, right? Like these lawmakers still call AR 15s assault rifles. There's no such thing, but they make up these phrases. The lawmakers that know nothing about guns still think that AR 15s are fully automatic weapons. Um, Not so true there, Sal. The Glock V series is, it doesn't look different, but it is going to be different mechanically. The transfer bar, there is going to be a difference. However, um, I guarantee you a month after that V series is out, somebody's going to come up with a switch for that too. But here's the ironic thing. So you're trying to ban guns because they can put a Glock switch on it, right? But a switch is already illegal on the federal level. So now you're going to ban a gun that accepts a product that's already illegal, which is another stupid thing on these lawmakers that know nothing about guns. And I said this weeks ago when Glock was informed they could no longer sell any of the Glock Gen 3s in California. Um, and they went after Glock. Uh, and I said it's not going to stop there. Well, guess what? It didn't. Um, Now they're going after Ruger. The attorney general in Connecticut already threatened lawsuits against Ruger if they don't discontinue the Ruger RXM. 10x shooters, that, well, that's my point. I mean, honestly, I own a lot of Glocks. I'll never get rid of them, but I'll never buy another one. And I can't believe that Glock sold out. They took two of their flagship guns that were tried and true for 30 years. They took the Glock 17 and the Glock 19, which, by the way, are used by almost every law enforcement agency in the country, right? And now they're coming out with a V series that has no proven track record. Um, you know, I think this was Glock's plan all along. I don't think it had anything to do with it because you don't come out with a brand new gun in 2 months, right? Um, and as of November 30th, they're no longer going to ship any of the Glocks except for the 43, 43X, and 48X. Um, but I agree, Ted. But you see, I just will never buy a Glock again. Um, if you want a Glock, I would buy it now because the end of the month you won't be able to get them anymore. Um, but I'll never buy another Glock. There's a lot of guns that are just as good. Um, my Springfield Emissary, I'm sorry, my Springfield Echelon, my Hellcat Pro, the Equalizer. There's a lot of guns out there that are just as good, if not better than the Glock, and they're less money. The Ruger RXM, for God's sake, for $360, that's in my opinion, that is the best striker fire pistol money can buy. 10x shooters. My understanding, I read a quote from Ruger today, and they were pissed that the attorney general didn't even have the decency to contact them directly and meet with them. And Ruger's response today, anyway, was that we manufacture firearms for law abiding Americans, and we will continue to do so. But we'll see what happens when the lawsuits start coming in. Yeah, it's easy to say something. When you start getting sued for millions and millions of dollars, that's a different story. Alexander Roja, welcome. Sorry for you people joining late. This stream is going to end in 5 minutes. If you're new to this, we do this every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern and Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. Alexander, you know what? You just never know. Even nice areas, it's not the people in the areas, it's the people coming through. You know, people, even criminals go on vacation. Even bad people go on vacation. Even bad people go to work. So you may live in a nice town, but the people coming in and out of the town may not be nice. And it's just the crazy world we live in. You're not safe anywhere. Heck, you're not even safe in church anymore. I mean, I'm originally from New Jersey, and I remember as a kid, churches were open 24 hours a day. You used to be able to go to church at 3 o'clock in the morning if you wanted to. Now, even in church, you can get shot and killed. Alexander, it comes down to the same thing. I'd rather have a gun and not need it than need it and not have it, is what I tell them. Sal, the question is, yeah, you're allowed to own the guns. You just will not be able to buy them. They're not going to be distributing any more Glocks after November 30th. So if you want a Glock, go online, buy it now. You only got until November 30th. I work from home, carrying the house, Bear. Carrying the house every day. You know why? Because most home invasions happen between 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. Contrary to popular belief, where people think that they break into the house in the middle of the night, most home invasions are between 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon because they believe people are working. And if you're home during a home invasion, the odds of it becoming a deadly situation exponentially increases. Well, you could carry in New Jersey there, John. It's just that where you can carry is just getting stupid, right? 1,000 feet from a school, 1,000 feet from a church. You can't carry if there's a congregation. You can't carry if there's a parade. This is the problem. When New York lost against the Bruin case, Governor Murphy didn't want to get sued, so New Jersey said they would become a will issue state, right? But Governor Free Stuff Murphy and the Attorney General stayed up all night long coming up with so many different places where you can and can't carry. It's just not worth the trouble. And yes, dumbass New Jersey banned hollow points. If you get caught with hollow points in New Jersey, you're going to go to jail. So those stupid lawmakers in New Jersey are telling you to use ball ammo and have over penetration. That's how stupid they are. I know those statistics, Bear, because besides being an NRA pistol instructor, I'm also a certified NRA refused to be a victim instructor. So my head is loaded with all those statistics. So, yeah, carry at home. That's all I can tell you. And it is 8:59, so we will be going now. I really appreciate everyone who joins this stream. I have a lot of loyal followers, and that's why we do it, because you guys asked for one during the week. Also, those of you that are new, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please do so. And for those who join late, we do this stream every Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern, and every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. So anyway, thank you all. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. And Ted and John, thank you so much for helping with the moderation. I appreciate it. Bear, thank you also. Sal, you too. And everybody else out there. Thanks again, and we'll see you Saturday.